Okay, the first reason here you can see a beautiful palace as Versailles. Now, to maintain this extravagant court and palace required a lot of money. So, the cost of maintaining this palace of Versailles was a huge uh, financial burden on the treasury. Okay, then we see the second reason is that France was fighting a number of wars. Okay, and it drained the financial resources of the country. The third reason we can see here is Louis XVI helped 13 American colonies to gain independence from their common enemy, and who was the common enemy of the both France and America was Britain. So he helped them, and for this he had to spend about a billion livres. Livre is a currency of France, and was already in debt for more than 2 billion livres, and he borrowed loan for that. Okay, the other reason was to meet the regular expenses also had to be incurred on, like maintaining the army, the court, the offices, universities, and the state. Also, they had to meet all these regular expenses also. So that was another reason for the treasury to become empty. Now we can see this, that in order to help do this, the king had borrowed loan, and now the loan lenders wanted back their money. So they charged a rate of interest is was 10% on the loan, which added a financial burden on France again, which led to the empty treasury to become empty. So this was the financial drain of the wealth. And you can see here the reasons are given here: long years of wars, maintaining the court of Versailles, American war fighting, helping the Americans in the war of independence, interest on roll, and all the other regular expenses. Okay, so now to meet all these expenses, the king had no other option but to raise the taxes. Okay, children, we have learned about the political causes for the French Revolution. Let's look into the social causes. Now, the term old regime you will find in your books given. It is usually to describe the society and institution of France before 1789. Now, at that time, the society was divided into three estates. So you can see this is the first one, second, and the third. Now, the first estate actually was belonged to the clergy, people who were involved in church matters. The second estate was the nobility, the high ranks in the state administration, or the king and his relatives. All were the nobility estate. And the third state were actually the common people. They were businessmen, they were merchants, lawyers, peasants, servants. All these belong to the third state. Now you can see this is also there in your books. You can see the first state is the clergy, second state is the nobility, and third state, there are so many of them. They are big businessmen, merchants, courts, officials, lawyers, peasants, artisans, small peasants, landless labor, servants. All these come under the third state. Okay, so children, you see the first two estates, that is the clergy and the nobility, were exempted from paying taxes. They enjoyed all the privileges by birth since they were born in that uh, class or that. So they were enjoyed all the privileges that they got. The nobility also enjoyed lots of privileges. They could ask these common people and call them to work in their homes, in their fields, and repair roads. All kinds of privileges they got. Okay, now who paid taxes? It was only the third state which had to pay taxes. The first two states were exempted. So the entire burden of paying taxes was at the third state. Now the clergy, the nobility were only 10% of the population. Okay, but they possess 60% of the land. You can see, although being 10%, most of the land belonged to the clergy or the nobility. That means the first two estate. And the third estate, that is the common people were 90% of the population but possessed only 40% of the land. Okay, so we see that the entire burden of paying taxes for running the country was borne by the third estate. Now let us look into what kind of taxes they had to pay. Children, they had to pay a direct tax, okay, to the government, which was called as tail, and a number of other indirect taxes for everyday consumption of salt, cigarettes, tobacco. All these, for what all these they paid. They also had to pay certain feudal dues. Okay, so these were another taxes which the third estate paid, and even the clergy collected taxes from the peasants, that was called as tithes. Okay, so these were the so many taxes that the third estate had to pay. So that you can see, so with so many taxes, the third estate was very fed up of all these taxes, and that led to these were one of the causes for the French Revolution. Another cause was the economic cause. Okay, now we will see here that the king had already increased the taxes. Okay, and we will see that the population of France has now rose from 23 million in 1715 to 28 million by the time it reached 1789. And this led to the increased demand of food grains. Okay, and production was low, and therefore the prices of food grains soared, and most of the workers and laborers did not see any increase in their wages. So that led to scarcity of food, which is called as subsistence crisis. They needed food to survive. Okay, so because of this, there was no production, and population was increasing, less production, so the prices were increasing, or bread was increasing, and thus the people also saw that their salaries were not increasing, but the rate of food items were increasing, which led to crisis situation, which is called as subsistence crisis, or the struggle to survive. Children, you can see this is there in your textbook, which you have to complete this entire chart. Now, as you know, because of the subsistence crisis, the population was increasing, food production was less because of the bad harvest, because of droughts and cold weather, food could not be grown. So what follows it? Now we'll see the complete chart. Whenever there is a bad harvest, it leads to scarcity of grains. Grains become less, and which leads to rising of food prices, increase in food prices, and the poor can no longer buy bread. When the food prices rise, they cannot buy any kind of bread. Now what will it lead to? It will lead to the weaker bodies, they'll become weak, and that will lead to food riots. They'll be fighting for food, and when bodies become weak, what will happen? It will lead to all kinds of diseases and epidemics which will spread, and even food riots will lead to increased number of deaths. So this is a vicious cycle, isn't it? It will continue. So this is the entire chart which you need to fill up. Okay, and these are the answers for it.